My name is Orly, and today we're talking about a heist. Not the kind with masks and getaway cars, but the kind that happens while you're at work, believing in the American dream. Imagine you've done everything right. You saved the down payment, you fixed the credit score, and you've spent your weekends sweating over a lawn and a mortgage. Then, a stranger with a clipboard walks through your front door, looks at the photos on your wall, and decides your family's future is worth $48,000 less than the house 3 blocks over. This isn't a bad day at the office. It's a mathematical extraction called the skin color tax. It has stolen $156 billion from our communities. Today, I'm exposing the whitewashing secrets that doubled home values overnight and giving you the exact equity defense battle plan to stop the banks from gambling with your wealth. Let's look at a scenario that happens every single day. Meet two neighbors, James and Mike. They live in identical, cookie-cutter houses built by the same developer. James spent his Saturday pressure washing his driveway and picking out the expensive dark mulch from Home Depot. Mike did the exact same thing. They use the same grocery store, their kids play on the same Little League team, and they pay the same property taxes. But here is the glitch in the matrix. Because James is black and Mike is white, the data from the Brookings Institution tells us James's house is likely to be valued 23% lower than Mike's. We aren't talking about a few $100s, we're talking about a $48,000 anchor strapped to James's net worth. $48,000. Think about that. That's not just a number on a screen. That's the difference between a kid going to a state school or an Ivy League. That's the difference between retiring at 60 or working until you're 75. Across the country, this adds up to $156 billion. That is wealth that exists in the walls, but because of a biased clipboard, it's invisible to the bank. It's a ghost theft, and it's happening in broad daylight. Most people think redlining is a black and white photo from the 1930s. You've seen those maps where the government drew literal red lines around our neighborhoods and labeled them hazardous. But the red lines didn't die. They just learned how to code. Welcome to Redlining 2.0. Today, banks use algorithms to decide if you're worthy of a loan. But here's the truth. If you train a machine on 90 years of biased data, you get a biased machine. A study from Lehigh University found that black applicants often need credit scores 120 points higher than white applicants to get the same approval rate. The computer doesn't need to see your face, it just needs your zip code. If you live in a zip code that was redlined in 1934, the algorithm has already decided you're a high risk before you even finish the application. It's not just objective math, it's a digital cage. Now, let's talk about the person walking through your door. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the appraisal industry is 95% white, less than 1% is black. I'm not saying every appraiser wakes up wanting to be the villain, but we have to talk about confirmation bias. If an appraiser has spent 20 years looking at data that says zip code X is high risk, and they've never lived in zip code X, their brain is going to go looking for reasons to justify a lower number. They see a neighborhood where we see a legacy. They see a risk where we see community. When you have an industry that lacks cultural competency, subjective bias becomes the standard operating procedure. And remember, you're paying them $600 for the privilege of being devalued.
If you think I'm being cynical, look at the families who proved it. Take Carlette Duffy in Indianapolis. Her first appraisal? $125,000. She knew that was a lie, so she staged a social experiment on her own home. She took down the family photos, she hid her African art, she even removed her hair products from the bathroom. Then she had a white friend stand in for her during the walkthrough. The new value? $259,000, a 135% increase just because she removed her identity from the house. In Baltimore, Two professors from Johns Hopkins saw their valuation jump from $472,000 to $750,000 just by having a white colleague answer the door. When you have to hide your face to get the true value of your asset, the system isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. The heist follows you to the bank. Black home buyers are denied mortgages 3 times more often than white applicants with the exact same qualifications. Same credit, same income, different answer. And if you do get the loan, you pay the markup tax. Black homeowners pay about 8 basis points more in interest. It sounds small, right? But over 30 years, that's $11,000 in extra interest. Add in higher insurance premiums in flagged zip codes, and the average Black homeowner pays $67,000 more over the life of a loan than their white counterpart. This is a wealth leak that never stops dripping. This is how the wealth gap stays a canyon. It's time to stop being a victim and start being a warrior for your equity. Here is your refined battle plan. Number 1, the neutralize protocol. It feels wrong to hide your life, but $100,000 is worth the strategy. If you're getting an appraisal, think of it as stage directing. Remove family photos and turn the house into a generic, high-end Airbnb. If possible, have your realtor or a neutral third party present for the walkthrough. Number 2, the preemptive strike packet. Never let an appraiser walk in empty-handed. Give them a physical folder the moment they step through the door. The upgrade ledger. List every dollar you spent. New HVAC, new roof, kitchen renovation. The golden comps. Find 3 to 5 sales within a 1-mile radius from the last 6 months. If a similar house across the invisible line in a white neighborhood sold for higher, include it. Force them to look at your data. Number 3, the ROV strategy, reconsideration of value. If the number comes back low, do not sign. You have the legal right to challenge it. Look for material errors, wrong square footage, missing bathrooms, or using a foreclosure as a comp for your beautiful home. If you need to fight a low appraisal, you need the right language. I've put this template in the description, but let's walk through why it works. You send this to your loan officer. I am formally requesting a reconsideration of value for the appraisal conducted on date. I have identified material discrepancies. When you use the term material discrepancies, you aren't just complaining, you're using legal terminology. Then you hit them with the power move at the end. I am committed to ensuring this process adheres to fair housing standards. By mentioning fair housing standards, you aren't being mean, you are being a professional. It's a signal to the bank's legal department that you aren't just a frustrated homeowner, you are a litigation risk. Banks hate risk more than they hate being wrong. That phrase alone can trigger a secondary review that a standard phone call never would.
Finally, we build our fortress by refusing to be passive. Stop accepting no from standard banks. Look for minority-owned depository institutions or credit unions. Banks like One United, Liberty Bank, Industrial Bank, or Unity National often have a mandate to reinvest in our communities. They may use manual underwriting, actual humans who look at your whole financial picture, not just a cold algorithm trained on 1934 redlining data. We talk to our neighbors, we share our rates, we expose the patterns so we can fight them together. Silence is the bank's best friend. Let's make some noise.
The system was designed to keep you paying and keep you building someone else's empire. But knowledge is the first step toward escape. You have the battle plan, you have the letters, you have the math. Now go get your equity back. If this video opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button. We break down the systemic traps every single week. Comment the word equity below if you're ready to fight for your home's true value, and I would send you a link to the full appraisal reconsideration workflow. Go build that fortress. I'll see you in the next one.